So today is a good day. We've not had much sun the last couple days. It's been very overcast, some rain. So not great when you're fully pretty much dependent on solar input to charge your whole house battery or to run your off-grid homestead. So right now you can probably hear the fans of the inverter running right now because it's running a little faster because it is getting some input right now and converting that. And I don't know if you can hear the generator outside of running right now. I'm running my little portable generator right now to charge up, not charge, to run my basement freezers because over the last couple of days I had to unplug them at night so that it wouldn't take our low battery down even further. I'm discovering that one of my freezers, it's an old freezer and I'm not surprised, but it seems to be chewing up a lot of power over the evening every night, taking a lot of power from the battery because it's an old freezer. The thing's an ice box, but it definitely uses way too much power. I'm gonna have to deal with that at some point. I'm thinking I'm gonna take that out of action, take it out of commission. I have another chest freezer and I actually have a third little freezer, and between those two they're probably actually more efficient. Although right now I'm only using the two big ones. But at some point I'm gonna have to take the little one, or the old one, out of action just because it's way too inefficient for being off grid here. And it's fine over the summertime. I make enough power most of the time. But in the wintertime it's been a problem. I've been relying way too much on the generator. As I mentioned in my last video, my Generac, which again owes me nothing, has over 6,000 hours on it, died in April. And so it wasn't too bad dying at that point because in the springtime I get less and less dependent on the generators, although there was a couple days that I had issues where I did not have enough power. But I still need to get my other one, my other new to me, bigger generator. Got to get that hooked up yet. I'm almost there. I got a couple things to do to that yet, and I'll show that eventually. We'll talk about that and what I'm doing with that. But in the meantime, I'm running my little generator, and that's running outside right now to get my freezers cold again before I plug them back into my electrical system here. And they run off of AC power, so with having an inverter here, obviously I can run AC power. I also have a DC system in the house. Most of my lighting in the house runs off of 12-volt DC power, which is kind of interesting. It's great because it doesn't have to go for the inverter, so there's no efficiency loss there when I'm running the lights. So they basically sip power, which is great. So even when my power is really low and I'm unplugged a lot of things and I'm running off minimum equipment in the house, I can usually still have lights without any problems, and I'm not too worried about them pulling the power down. So that is great. But I'll show you my battery here. So here's my inverter. I know it's not a great view here, but it's a Radian, it's Outback Radian inverter. My understanding they don't make these anymore, and there's not so much support from the company anymore, but the installer that installed it still has lots of parts for it, and so I'm not too worried about this thing. It's been good to me so far. There's my two, I guess those are charge controllers from the solar panels. And again, I'm learning all this. This is all new to me. I'm new to solar, no experience with it at all prior to buying this house. So maybe that wasn't too wise, but that's where I'm at. I'm trying to learn. But this inverter here is capable of 8 kW, and then I have the battery here, which has I'll show it to you here right there. It's a Fortress Power, I think it's called the E-Volt, and it's capable of 18.5 kW. And the good thing about today is I'm bringing a lot of solar input, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this or not, but I'll turn the screen on there. Probably can't see it too well, but I'm bringing in 46 amps. I'm bringing almost 2.5 kW of power in. My battery's up to 75.4%. I've got great voltage, 54 volts. This is a 48 volt system in the house as far as the battery. And right now I'm making great power. I'm making over 2 kW off the one set of panels, and the other ones are quite a bit less, but that's on the back of the house, so it's facing away technically from the sun, so it's not getting direct sunlight where the front panels are. The unfortunate thing about the design of this house is the back of the roof has a lot more surface area for more panels. There's 9 panels in the back. There's actually room for some more. At some point I need to do that, because if I pull in more power in the wintertime, that would greatly help my problems with using the generator less. Even if they're on the back of the roof, they're still going to get a lot of ambient sunlight, if not necessarily always direct sunlight at most of the year, or at least in the wintertime, they at least get ambient light and still pull some power in. So more would definitely be better, but again, that's an expense. I don't really have the money to invest in that right now, even though it would be greatly helpful. But that's at some point I'll do that. I really can't put any more panels in the front of the house, just the way the roof is designed. And at some point I'll go up there. There's actually a walk up there and a roof access. That's how I get up there to clean the panels off. Mostly the front ones. The back ones, I kind of have to go over the top of the roof, over the up near the chimney, and it's not the safest. I don't really have any. I have a way to crawl up there, but again, if I would slip or if it was snowy or icy up there, that'd be bad. I could probably end up falling off the roof. So I did it once. Was not the wisest thing. My feet were sliding. It's kind of using the panels, which are connected to a rack system up there. That's how they're mounted, and I was kind of using that to keep myself from sliding off the roof, which again, not ideal. You know, don't really want to do that. Don't want to damage anything, don't want to fall. I need to have a better system up there to get the rear panels cleaned off, because like last winter we had a decent amount of snow at times, and those panels stay covered for a while, which obviously does me no good. I can't make power off of them, even if it's a little bit. So, but again, here's my inverter, my battery, and it's a good day today. I'm gonna run the washing machine. I haven't been able to run the washing machine for a couple days. You know, I'm married, have kids, and kids make lots of laundry, unfortunately. They haven't gotten better about that yet. You know, I'm always preaching about conserving power, conserving our resources, and again, mostly because it's not fun running out of battery power. It's not fun when you got to shut everything down and have a dark house because the battery's at 20%, and you know, when this thing gets down to 18.5%, it starts to not being too happy. It'll kick stuff off. I'll get errors on my I can say it right, a control screen on the back here for my inverter that gives me a lot of information, and I'll get events that'll pop up there that, you know, the system's not happy. So I like to keep a happy system, because I don't want to shorten the life expectancy of this battery here. I believe it's good for about 8,000 full discharge cycles. It's been in here for about 4 years, and I'd like it to last a while. When they were new, they were very expensive. They've come down in price now, and I know there's a lot of other options now out there, which eventually I'll probably look at those like cube batteries that are stackable, and some of them I understand that they can work independently of each other. If one of them goes down, the other ones work, which one of the things I'll talk about something in the future is like redundancy with being off-grid. Redundancy is very important, just because if something dies, you know, you don't want to be completely shut down and have problems. You know, that's why it's sometimes it's good to have 2 chainsaws, or have 2 ways to heat the house at minimum, or more than one way to get water, which we do have some of that stuff. I can heat with propane and I can heat with wood, so that's great. I mean, that's my redundancy right there. So there's always a way to heat. Power, you know, I have generators. My main generator is offline right now. I have a portable backup, so that's my redundancy. And this house actually never had one time I actually had a plug to plug in an extra generator, but for whatever reason, when they installed this Generac, I guess that's when it happened, they kind of cut out the backup plug out of the system, and it's not connected anymore. It's just it's on the side of the house there. It doesn't go to anything, which I never understood why you would disconnect it. I'm not sure who made that decision or when. It was before I bought the house. I don't know if it was a previous owner or someone before then, or they decided that it was going to cost too much to keep it there with what they needed to do. I really don't know, but to me it's kind of silly. Like, why would you get rid of an external plug that gave you other options or additional options? So that's one thing I added for my upgrade of the system, is a plug that I can plug a 30 or a 50 amp generator directly into the house and feed it right into the inverter. Right across from the inverter here, I'm not going to show it at this time, but I have a load center for just a generator that everything feeds through, that I can control that, shut it on and off and whatnot. So anyway, good day today, because again, I can run the dishwasher, I can run the washing machine. You know, living off grid doesn't mean you have to give up all the nice things of life, like washing machines and dishwashers. I mean, it all depends on what kind of system you have, or what you can afford to put in, or what makes sense for you. But this house had it. I mean, I can tell you honestly, buying this place was a hard sell for my wife, and I understand why. You know, she's a busy mom and has a busy job, and we homeschool as well. I should say she homeschools. I don't homeschool. I mean, I help where I can, but I mean, she's the one that makes that happen and does a wonderful job with that. But she doesn't have time to deal with a lot of stuff, and you know, that's in a lot of other houses, you know, it just happens. You know, electricity just happens in other houses, and the water just works, and you know, you're not cutting up trees just to get down the driveway. And so it's definitely been an adjustment for her. It's been an adjustment for me as well. And you know, she has a lot of grit, and I really appreciate that. But it definitely was a hard sell moving out here, because it was a new frontier for both of us. And you know, having some of these things, like a washing machine that works, you know, all the time, except when there's no sun and no battery power. But you know, she really, you know, for her to want to move out here, it had to work, and she had to have that option. You know, she does a lot of laundry because we have kids and they're messy, and you know, make a lot of dirty clothes. So you know, if this place didn't have that kind of stuff, or was more remote, more off grid in ways where I know some people live and have, you know, their, you know, solar power, a little generator to use occasionally, and you know, otherwise live off grid and you know, do things very hands-on manually. I'm not sure she would have went for that, at least not at this stage in life. So you know, off grid can look differently for different people, and people have different reasons and beliefs. And some people say, hey, you know, you're not really living all that off grid, you have all the conveniences of life here. And you know, maybe that's true, but you know, to each their own. I mean, I have a coffee maker. I have a French press that I can use when we have no power, and you know, I can use the gas stove, or you know, when we have power, I can run the electric coffee maker, which is great. I mean, I don't function without coffee. I know a lot of people don't. So, you know, that would have been a no-go for my wife. She lives off that stuff, and so do I. But you know, having that is really nice. But you know, today, like, I could make a pot of coffee. It was no big deal. The battery's at 40-some% this morning. We've been really trying to conserve power because of no sun the last couple of days, or very little. And now that the fact that the battery is, I'm gonna look again, it's at 77.5%, and it's, you know, a little after lunchtime. I know we're not gonna have a lot more sun left for the day because it's November and we're in Pennsylvania. So the sun's getting low already on the horizon a bit, but I'm gonna quick run some laundry, maybe a load or two, and shouldn't hurt the battery too much since we're making a lot of good input right now. So I'm gonna go do that, and it makes me very happy. It's nice having power.